Hello and welcome to another episode of Pint-Sized Pressers. I am Ayisha Gulati and I'm joined by Dan Bennett and Nayan Murthy to give you a full preview of the weekend's Premier League action. As always, we are in the wonderful venue that is Box Piccadilly in the heart of London. Do get yourselves down here if you've not already. So many screens, so much choice for all the football you could ever hope for, and other sports if you're into other sports. It's great, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful. You could even get F1 in here if you're sat on a Sunday afternoon thinking, what should I do?
Getting distracted by the F1 in the background now. Need to pay attention.
Well, without further ado, we will start with a cheers. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy Friday.
Right in the
Happy
middle.
Friday.
Well, there's only one place to start. Tomorrow's early kickoff. It is Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester United. Now, is it fair to say, actually it is fair to say, last season's flops and having a bit of a resurgence. Spurs are in 6th, United go into this one in 8th. How do we think this one's going to go?
Oh, I think Spurs are getting 5 in a row. Manchester United have been in really good form, and Spurs' form has been very up and down. Obviously, a big winning against Copenhagen, but a dire loss to Chelsea last week. But I really think that Tottenham Hotspur under Thomas Frank, other than the Chelsea game, obviously, do better against better teams that are looking to attack them. I think Thomas Frank likes to defend deep and hit on transition, and I just think that Tottenham will dominate Manchester United, and their 3 at the back just won't be able to cope with it.
No, I fancy United, actually. I wrote them off a couple of weeks ago when we did it and said that they would lose to Brighton, which they didn't, and then I said they'd win against Forest last week, which they didn't.
So everyone should bet against whatever you say, okay.
Yeah. But no, I think they've been much improved recently, as the results show. I think obviously Brian Mbeumo winning Player of the Month for October. I think he's been terrific. I think he's really improved the team. I spoke about it last week, but the new front line I think has made a massive difference for United. And I went to the Tottenham-Chelsea game last week and really disappointed by Spurs, as I'm sure all the Spurs fans were, as they made their feelings very known at the end of the game. It was just nothing really to get excited about. Obviously, I know they had the big win over Copenhagen during the week, which they needed. But I think the pressure is still on Frank somewhat, because without disrespecting Copenhagen, it is a game they would be expected to win and expected to win comfortably. So I think potentially Mohamed Kudus not playing as well. I think that could be a big loss if he doesn't play, because he is by far their best attacking player and has been this season. So yeah, I'm not too optimistic for Spurs, but I do fancy United actually.
Well, of course, this is a rematch of last season's Europa League final. We heard from Ruben Amorim earlier as he previewed the match.
I think we are more confident. We reached that final confident that we could win because we were doing well in Europe. But in this moment, we play with a different confidence. We managed better the moments of the game. But if you remember that game, they have that shot on the goal. They won the game. So I expect a different game. That we can play better, but also to have a little bit luck to help us to win the game.
Ruben Amorim there talking about how United have evolved since that Europa League final. I think last season, in the 4 matches they played, Spurs won all of them. What do you make of this evolving of this United side? Ruben Amorim just won Manager of the Month for October. Do you think this is the real turning point?
I don't know if it's a turning point. Amorim's still insisting to play this 3-4-3 formation, which works at points. It worked for a lot of other teams, and it will work in some matches. But I don't think that means it's going to work forever. That 2 in midfield against the top sides, it's just going to get dominated. Spurs will play 3 in midfield and 2 wide, and I just don't see how Manchester United can keep a hold of the ball against a Tottenham Hotspur midfield, especially if they play Sarr, Bentancur and Paulinho, 3 players that aren't going to look for a forward pass, but they will keep the ball and they will win it back pretty quickly. And I think that 2 in midfield is just going to get swamped.
I just think United have got a lot more than Spurs up top, to be honest. I see what you're saying about the midfield, but with Mbeumo, Cunha, I know Sesko hasn't really got the goals yet, but I do think he's been quite good. And you look at Spurs' attack, I think that's really where they're falling short at the moment. Like I say, if Kudus doesn't play as well, I think that's a massive loss. So
yeah,
I think they're really lacking a striker, especially with Solanke.
They've got to rely on their defence to score goals, Mickey van der Ven, right? I mean, if you've got goals like that in you, why not?
He's doing it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And Romero got the assist at the end as well.
Yeah.
Well, our reporter, Jap Tejgura, was at the Spurs training ground this morning to hear from the manager.
Just, when you work with a player for 6 years, you get a close relationship, and to see him developing from being a young man, 19 years old was he when he moved to London and Brentford, and left 6 years later, going into one of the biggest clubs in the world with all that focus and the way he stepped up. And for me, looking from the outside, maybe a little bit biased, I think he's been their best offensive player. He can create, he can score, he works hard, he's a team player. He is the perfect example, in my opinion.
Frank, they're full of praise for Mbeumo. Of course, he played under Frank at Brentford, so knows just what he's capable of. You think that it's going to be United's attack that make the difference in this game. So we got a Spurs win there.
Spurs win.
Yeah, and I'm going United.
United
I
win?
think 2-1 United win. I'm going for, yeah.
I'm going for a United win too.
You put a score in. I'm not holding myself to that.
Risky business, Dan.
If I get it right, it looks even better. But
Yeah, I mean, we know it's going to be wrong based on your previous predictions,
Well,
but we
third-
love a
third
prediction
time lucky
anyway.
predicted
Third
Man
time
United,
lucky, third time lucky,
Could be.
exactly. Right, well, we'll move on to the next fixture of the weekend, and that is the Sunderland versus Arsenal. Sunderland sit fourth. Arsenal, of course, top of the table at this point. This is Saturday, 5:30. It's a juicy fixture. Maybe people didn't think this would be a juicy fixture at the start of the season, but I guess there's a lot of exciting storylines going on here. The one that's really standing out to me is Granit Xhaka playing against his former side. What do we make of that?
It would be written in the stars for him to get sent off in this game. It really would be. After all those red cards at Arsenal, you get one more against him. I think that he was a brilliant player for Arsenal, and Reggie Lebris said after they beat Chelsea the other week that he's a real leader and a real important player in the Sunderland side, and he's a big part of why they sit fourth in the Premier League.
yeah, I think it's interesting with Xhaka. I mean, he went from zero to hero at Arsenal. I mean, there was that game where he was giving it back to the fans and they were booing him off, and he thought there's no way back from here, and then he completely turned it around under Mikel Arteta. And listening to Arteta earlier, you can tell he's got a lot of affinity for Xhaka. But I mean, a lot of people were talking about him as one of the signings of the season before the season started, and he's shown to be that so far. I think it's been a massive reason why they've been so good.
There is something you cannot take away from Granit Xhaka, and that is his passion. Like, whichever team he's playing for, he really plays, doesn't he?
Definitely, and I think Arsenal, before this season, they were missing exactly his position, exactly an 8. So they had Declan Rice playing deeper, and they were missing that person that could take the ball from midfield forwards, and that's what he was doing so well in Arteta's first season. And now they've got Zubimendi, and Rice can do that role, but before then they really did miss him, so it'll be a real homecoming for him against Arsenal this week.
It will indeed. Well, our reporter Nick Callow was at the Showbert Realty Training Centre earlier today and heard from Mikel Arteta.
Nick Callow here at the Arsenal training ground, where we've been speaking to Mikel Arteta. He's in a good mood on their recent run, and also because Gabriel Jesus is back in training for the first time this season. One of 5 injured strikers, and he hinted that one of those 5 could be back to face Sunderland and former Arsenal hero Granit Xhaka on Saturday night. Save a pint for me.
Fantastic boost to see Gabriel Jesus on the training pitch yesterday. You said him and the other 4 or 5 injuries that you've got not available for tomorrow, but how long before do you think Gabriel could be back in the reckoning?
I don't know. Now it's about making the steps day by day in a different surrounding. Obviously, he's been doing everything on his own. Now he's got players around him, very competitive players around him, and see how he copes with that. But he's full of energy. I love the reaction of all his teammates when he first joined us, and great to have him.
Yes, Arteta there talking about the return of Gabriel Jesus. Of course, he's been missing for a number of weeks now, and what could he add to this already impressive Arsenal side?
Well, with Victor Gyökeres being out injured, I think it's massive that Arsenal still need a striker. They don't have Kai Havertz. They need to find where the goals are coming from. And Gabriel Jesus, although not known for hitting the back of the net, he is a striker, and he is someone that will link the play and hopefully get Saka and whoever plays on the left back into the game.
Yeah, I think obviously he's not said whether he's going to play this weekend, so it might be too early. But like you said, Nan, he's not a player known for his goals. I think that's always been the one criticism of him, is that he's not got in the right areas enough to score goals. But he is a very good player. You know, regardless of whether he's scoring or not, he's going to contribute something to that attack. And he's been kind of like the forgotten man almost, because he's been out injured for so long. But I mean, people forget before he got injured as well. I think he was in his best run of form for Arsenal. Obviously, I know that was a long time ago, and he's had a serious knee injury to come back from. So it's going to be a big ask to pick up where he left off. But I think he can play a big part this season. I think still.
I think it's important that Arsenal have the second most injuries in the league, maybe after Spurs, and having someone back is just going to be so important. It doesn't matter who it is. Having extra bodies on the pitch with their packed schedule, it's just going to be so important to have them back.
Well, it removes excuses, doesn't it? The injury excuse, you can't use that one anymore when all your players are fit. I want to talk about Sunderland because I mentioned earlier they're in 4th. Did we expect this? I think probably not. But can they keep up this run of form?
I think it's really interesting because they made so many signings in the summer, and at the moment Liverpool are struggling to bed in their signings that they made, and they only made 5. Sunderland made more, and they made more changes than any other Premier League side that I can think of, and yet everything seems to have gelled so quickly. Reggie Debris has done a brilliant job in getting these new players mixed with the older players that they had before, like Enzo Lefebvre. I think the goalkeeper's the biggest coup that they've got in the summer. He's been brilliant all season. So I just think that the way that Reggie Debris has bedded in those signings has been brilliant, and I definitely think they can maybe not keep up top 4, but possibly they'll stay up comfortably.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, like you said, I don't think many people would have had them top 4, and I don't think they'll finish there come the end of the season, but a lot of people were tipping them to have a really strong season, and I think, like you said, Nayan, we looked at Nottingham Forest a couple of years ago when they came up, and they pretty much did exactly the same thing as Sunderland have done by a completely new team, and that didn't really go very well. I mean, they stayed up literally by the skin of their teeth towards the end of the season. So it's pretty remarkable how quickly all these players have come in and settled in straight away, because as we've seen from other examples, it's not easy to do at all. So yeah, I don't think they'll finish there, but I think they'll comfortably stay up, mid-table. I think that'll be a terrific season for them.
Okay, score predictions for this one, or result predictions. I won't push you for a score line.
I'll stop saying the score.
I actually think Sunderland will get a point. I'm not sure they'll score a goal, but I think they'll get a point.
Nah, I just can't see past Arsenal. I think they're just going to keep on rolling. I mean, don't concede any goals. They're in brilliant form at the moment. So, I mean, I don't think they'll thrash Sunderland, but I do think they'll win.
Well, it looks like I'm copying your choices, Dan, but I also have an Arsenal win on this one.
My track record's not very good.
Yeah, to be honest, so I should stop that, shouldn't I?
Probably Nayan's
I'll just do whatever you don't say.
Yeah, say the opposite.
No, I see Arsenal winning this one. I think on their quest to be champions, they've got to win this game.
Definitely.
Right, well, tomorrow night's game, we've got Chelsea versus Wolves. Chelsea sits 7th, Wolves bottom of the pack. Pun. I wasn't expecting to come out with that one. There we go. Unintentional pun, the best kind of puns. What do we think of this one? Chelsea drew midweek in their Champions League fixture against Karabag. 2-2, a little bit disappointing, I think it's fair to say.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they're the only Premier League team not to win in the Champions League, so it definitely is a disappointment. They made a lot of changes, but they still should have enough to beat Karabag. Garnacho's goal was good, but conceding 2 goals, their defence has been shaky all season, but conceding 2 goals to Karabag just isn't what Chelsea should be doing this season.
You say that, Karabag, Champions League dark horses, I think.
Yeah.
They've been on fire so far in the Champions League. It's been pretty amazing. But that was a disappointing result. And like you said, Maresca making a lot of changes, and then we'll come on to it in a minute. But the rotation, he seems pretty insistent on doing that, and I think it does affect results sometimes, but then it's hard to kind of gauge the positive impact from that. But you think, he's resting players and then they're available for other games, so it's kind of hard to gauge, whereas if he drops a load of players and they don't get a result, it's going to heap more pressure on, but it's very difficult for him to do because of the Club World Cup in the summer, and the impact that had on the team, and he'll know his players better than anyone, along with the medical team, so you just have to trust that he's making the right decisions.
Yep, you mentioned Enzo Maresca there. We will now hear from the Chelsea manager.
Everyone's talking about Estevao. They have been all season. How long before he's starting week in, week out?
No, he's ready to start. For sure he's ready to start. But if Estevao starts, another one is on the bench. And probably the other one also want to start. We just try to do the best for Estevao. We are helping him in terms of adapt to England. Again, last week he was complaining about too cold. Imagine, last week was still October, so imagine December, January. He has to adapt. He's happy. He's doing fantastic.
Maresca there talking about changing his team around. There has been a lot of that this season. Do you think that's a problem, Dan, the amount he keeps rotating, changing his sort of starting
like
11?
I just touched on before we went to Maresca there, I think I do think it is hurting him. I think if he'd gone full strength against Qarabag, I think they would have won. He's always, even last season, he's always been very careful with his squad, always rotating a lot, and he's had to answer a lot of questions on that, and I think maybe you can tell he's getting a bit sick of having to answer so many questions on it now, because he's stated what his what his philosophy is, and he's going to stick to that. So it's difficult, yeah. I mean, but you kind of look at all the injuries they've had already this season, and obviously Cole Palmer being the big one, Colwell getting injured before the start of the season, Liam Delap's just come back, and I mean, there's been loads more. He said like João Pedro, Fernandez, and I think is it one Caicedo aren't even training every day at the moment. So I think it's easy for us to sit here and say, play your strongest team every week, but I think there has to be some recognition of just how much pressure and the demands on these players are massive now. So, and I think a lot of other managers are rotating as well. So I do understand it, but it is frustrating for the supporters if he makes a load of changes and they don't get the result they want.
And I think if you told a Chelsea fan before that week started you're going to beat Spurs and you're going to draw away in the Champions League, it doesn't matter that it's Qarabag. These Champions League games don't mean as much as they did in the group stages before. You can draw, if you win all your home games, you can draw away, and it doesn't matter.
It's tough, isn't it, going all the way to Azerbaijan in the midweek, and I don't think we should underestimate the difficulty of that as well. So
yeah, for sure. Well, Estevao ready to start. He scored midweek. How much is he adding to Chelsea?
I can't believe he's not starting more. In the Premier League, he's not getting as many minutes as he should, because he scored that last-minute winner against Liverpool. He scored a great goal in the week, and he's just a brilliant player, a brilliant young player that drives at defenders, and that's kind of what Chelsea have been missing. Garnacho does it, but not to the level that Estevao's been doing it. And I just think that they've really been missing a winger that can drive at defences.
I think he's the real deal. I think I've seen him quite a few times now. I think he's going to be a top player in the future. I think Cole Palmer said recently, Cole Palmer got named to the FIFA Pro World 11. He said, which player do you think will make it in the future? And he said Estevao. So
high
Cole
praise
Palmer
indeed,
sees it as well, yeah.
And Wolves, they're bottom. Do you see them going down this season?
I think it's very early to say going down, but we don't even know who their manager's going to be for the rest of the season, but definitely not in a good way. And I think that are there three worse teams than Wolves, just looking at the squads on paper? I don't see it, especially with Sunderland and other teams that went up this last season doing so well.
Yeah.
I just don't think there are three worse teams. So.
Yeah. So yes, in conclusion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
a long-winded way of saying yes.
I agree as well, yeah. I mean, it looks like they could be getting Rob Edwards in as manager, which I think he's a good manager, really like him, but I think their start's been so bad, I can't see them getting out of it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I see Chelsea winning this one. Anyone disagree with me?
No.
Okay, there we go. That was quick. Cool. Well, on to potentially the biggest match of the weekend. Sunday, 4:30. We've got Manchester City against Liverpool at the Etihad. This one's tasty.
It really is. These used to be the Manchester City Liverpool used to be the highlight of the season, and now with Arsenal coming up, it's not. But they're still two brilliant teams, and it's more interesting now because we don't know what we're going to get. We don't know what Liverpool side we're going to get. It could be the one that played Real Madrid in midweek, or it could be the one that's lost 3 games on the trot. So I really don't know what we're going to get. And Pep Guardiola's side is the same, but what we're definitely going to get is a really good game. Yeah,
I think there's massive pressure on this game. I mean, like you said, normally the pressure in previous seasons has been on the winner of this potentially going on to win the title, but now I think it's more to stay in the hunt with Arsenal. I mean, whoever loses it, you can't write them off still completely. It's still very early, but I think whoever wins it, if we do have a winner, I think that'll be a massive boost that they can go on and challenge Arsenal, I think.
Well, someone who has had a phenomenal stint in management, Pep Guardiola, it's his 1000th game in charge as a manager. Wow. I mean, what an achievement. Our reporter, Stan Smith, caught up with Pep this morning.
Every era is every. So I think the influence of many managers have been through the history. So of course I can say I've been part of that because the numbers explain and have been success, and I think have been nice to watch our teams. So yeah, I'm there. that I never start when asked me. I remember my first game here. I never start to thinking I want to be the best. I never. Mom and dad don't give me the competitiveness, but not this. I want to die. I want to kill for be the best. No. I'm fine with myself with defeats. I'm fine with accepting that I'm not good, and I'm not about that. And always, I never go back. It's happened because I had, like your colleague said, have extraordinary clubs. Without that, you cannot have that number. But at the same time, you have this opportunity, and I did it, or we did it. At the same time, most of the managers as well, given a big clubs, they cannot be for a long time being there. The amount of titles or consistency, especially in the Premier Leagues, in the Ligas and Bundesligas, winning. So that's why I didn't start thinking of that, and I don't think of that. And at the end, when retired or everything, okay, Pep and his people did that, that's fine. Everything is fine.
Well, Liverpool, we mentioned there, they have had a rocky run of games, now won 2 in a row. Have they found form at the right time? As we mentioned, this is a massive game.
It's not just 2 in a row. It's 2 in a row against two really good teams. Aston Villa are not slouches.
You're putting Aston Villa on par with Real Madrid then, Nayan?
Possibly not on par, but they're definitely 2 really good teams. That Real Madrid loss is the gloss on the paper, but I just think that they're 2 really good wins, and I think having that is really important. If those wins are against kind of subpar sides or sides that Liverpool should be beating, and you expect that anyway, you wouldn't be thinking too much of is this a change in form? But it definitely is. You don't just beat Real Madrid.
And defensively, I think that's the massive thing, is they've looked so much better defensively. I think Robertson's come back in for Kirkes, which I think has helped a lot. I mean, Kirkes this season has been a bit of a defensive liability, not really worked out for him so far. Obviously, he's a very young player, and he's got a long time to turn it around. And also Gravenberch coming back in from that injury. I think him in front of the defender. I think those 2 have made a big difference defensively, and Arne Slot will be very pleased to see that. I mean, he was talking about the set pieces, how much better they've been on set pieces in the Champions League compared with the Premier League, which has made a big difference. So, yeah, they've got to keep that up if they want to keep this run going.
Yes, well, our reporter Nazira Youssef was at Melwood earlier today and heard from Arne Slot.
I'm outside the active training centre where Arne Slot just held his pre-match press conference ahead of Liverpool's Premier League trip away to Manchester City on Sunday. Arne Slot provided the latest injury updates and a massive injury boost ahead of this fixture.
Just check, Isak going to be involved? Or?
He will train for the first time today with the team again, so after being 3 weeks out. So I know that I said 3 weeks ago his pre-season has ended, so now it's time for us to see where he is. But I have to come back to those words, because if you're 3 weeks only with the rehab, that doesn't bring you back to the levels he was 3 weeks ago.
Slot mentioning there that Isak is back in training. Do we think he could be the change maker for Liverpool?
I don't think he automatically walks back in the team, or at least I don't think he should. He might do. He's a 150 million player, but so maybe he should. Maybe they're being told they has to play. But Ekitike has been so good when he's played. He's either scoring or just being a nuisance completely for the defence. And to just remove him for someone that Isak hasn't really hit form yet. Obviously, they do want him to hit form. Definitely, he's one of the best players in the Premier League. But I wouldn't say he just oversteps Ekitike.
It poses the question, like, did they need to sign him?
I mean, they had to sign another striker, I think, because of, got to touch on obviously the sad passing of Diego Jota as well. That, unfortunately, that did leave them light in attack. So they had to bring in attacking players. I mean, you can argue whether they had to spend that amount of money on someone of Isak's quality. Maybe they could have had Ekitike as their starting striker, and then they could have brought in someone to back up Ekitike. Instead, they've probably bought arguably a better player than Ekitike. But I agree with Nayan. I think Ekitike, I'm saying that a lot. It's like a tongue twister, isn't it? Ekitike. I think he should start, to be honest. I think he's been better than Isak this season. Obviously, Isak's only just coming back from injury, might not play on the weekend, might be too soon for him. But it's been disappointing for Isak so far. I think obviously he had that sort of time phasing himself into the team, and then he got another injury, and now Slot saying earlier that he needs more time again. It feels like, is it going to happen this season? I hope it does for him, because I think he's a brilliant player when he's at his best, and it would be good to see that. So we'll see.
Yes, well, back on Man City briefly, because Foden has got recalled to the England squad. What do we make of that?
I think it was only coming. That goal against Dortmund in the week was just beautiful. I think he's a player that England need. As much as England have a load of number 10s, Cole Palmer's injured at the moment, but he's different to every other number 10 that England have. Bellingham and Palmer are both really good dribblers, but that final pass isn't what they're known for. Whereas Foden, that's exactly what he's known for, in that half space, playing a through ball or shooting on goal, and that's just exactly what he brings to that England squad. And it's important to have different players rather than the best players. And I think he is one of the best players anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that season from 2 years ago, it's just crazy that we're even sort of having the conversation of should Foden be in the England squad or not.
Nah, richly deserved. I think I agree with Pep saying earlier this week that he's back to his, or at least near his best. I think he has been. If you know, he's not really had the goals and assists, to go with it, to kind of the stats to back it up. If you look at actually how well he's playing, I think he's been brilliant this season. I think he's been one of the best attacking players in the Premier League. So, yeah, richly deserved, and hopefully for England's sake he can carry on like that.
Well, I think this is the trickiest prediction of the bunch this week, I think. Which way are we going?
Hadn't even thought about it.
It's what you're here for, Nayan. It's literally your only job.
I think it's going to be a draw. It's always been a draw. I think it's going to be a draw.
I fancy Liverpool.
Oh, I was going to go Liverpool as well. Yeah, I
need
was.
to stop copying each other.
I know.
I do. I think City have still got sort of a vulnerability about them defensively, and I know Liverpool have had so as well this season. But I don't know. I think Liverpool might do it. I think been, like I say, back to form in the last couple of games. So I fancy them.
Yeah, I'm with you on Liverpool. I think they have a real fire in their belly at the moment. Like, you kind of see that from like the Van Dijk-Rooney interaction. Like, they don't like it, do they? And they want to change that narrative.
That's probably a good, that in all seriousness, that probably has fueled them up a bit.
Sure.
I mean, sometimes maybe they need something about that when everyone's criticising them, and these top players like Salah and Van Dijk probably love that because they can get back to form and
react,
throw it back in people's faces.
Do you think Rooney won that debate though?
I
must say.
Yeah, absolutely. Do your talking on the pitch. Rooney can't do that anymore, but you know what I mean.
He certainly did as a player, though. To be fair,
he certainly did as a player. Exactly. Well, best of the rest now. We've got plenty more fixtures. We've got 7 more fixtures that we've not discussed. I want a quick fire on these ones. Aston Villa sit 11th against Bournemouth in 5th. Just a quick word on Bournemouth's impressive start. We've mentioned Sunderland. Bournemouth have really brought it as well.
You thought after their defence got completely gutted in the summer that they just wouldn't be able to continue their form from last season. In fact, they're just better. They're a much better team and they've been brilliant. And Alex Scott's now in the England squad. Didn't see that coming. He wasn't even starting last season. So,
yeah, it's a bit of confusion between whether it was Alex Scott, male or female.
Which Alex Scott?
She's out of retirement. No, not quite. Although might be in the jungle.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, so she's been called up as well. Then.
Yes, she's been called up as well.
Just not to a very different kind of call up.
Exactly. Which way do we see this one going?
I think it's going to be really tough for them. Bournemouth at Villa away there. I think Villa at Villa Park are a very difficult team. So I do fancy Villa.
I'm the opposite again, apparently.
I think we've disagreed on everything.
Yeah, exactly. One time we're going to agree. I think Bournemouth are going to win.
I'll go down the middle with a draw on that one. Palace versus Brighton at 9th v 10th, proper mid-table clash.
Oh, it's a proper derby as
it
well.
It is,
everyone
derby
keeps forgetting that. It's a really... These fans do not like each other.
True.
And I think Palace are going to get the better of Brighton this weekend.
I agree.
Hey!
I agree with you. I think, I think Palace at home, I think, are very good. And I think they'll have too much for Brighton. And obviously they did play in the Conference League as well, so that is something that they've had to contend with, but I think they'll have enough.
I'll go the opposite. I'm going to go for Brighton. Yeah. I'm going to go for Brighton win on this one. Yeah, basically to what you said about having midweek action makes it tricky.
It does, yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Everton versus Fulham, 14th versus 15th. Exciting.
Such a boring game.
We said that last time though.
Yeah, I said that. It was a
very exciting. It's going to be a goal fest. Trust me.
Everton. I love Iliman Ndiaye. He's just one of my favourite players to watch.
I'll go Everton win on this one.
Do you reckon?
I'll go first.
Everton, I reckon.
I'll make it a hat-trick.
Clean sweep. There we go. Everton all the way. West Ham versus Burnley. Oh, this might even 18th versus 17th.
I think West Ham got their first win last week, and
Yeah.
they're going to get their second.
I think so too. They
under
need
Nuno.
they need wins. They need wins.
All right,
and
well, for the sake of variety, I'll say Burnley then.
go on.
I mean, I've been. I know they haven't been that good, Burnley, but I think they've impressed me a bit. You know, I think they're competitive at least, which the last time they've been in the Premier League, you couldn't really say that. So I think, you know, they're in with a shout of staying up. I think they are competitive.
High praise. They've impressed me a bit.
Well, I mean, they are what 17. Yeah. I don't think I can put too much praise on them, but
Yeah, fair enough.
I think I was quite generous there, to be honest.
Okay, right. We've got Brentford versus Newcastle, 12th versus 13th, Sunday 2 p.m.
Yeah, I'm going to this one, so I'm looking
Ooh,
forward
so
to this
you're
one.
hoping it's going to be a
I'm hoping there'll be
real
plenty of
goalfest,
goals.
yeah.
I think there will be. I mean, Brentford are good at home. They always give it a right good go against whoever they play against, and as the Newcastle, and it's a big game for Newcastle because their away form has been terrible this season. I mean, in the Premier League, you know, they're 13th, so in the Champions League they've been doing really well, but they've struggled in the Premier League to kind of match what they did last season. So it's a massive game for them. But saying that, I'm going for a first. Is it a first away win?
Yeah,
possibly?
they've not won away.
Yeah, so I think Newcastle could get their first away win of the season in the
Nice.
Premier League.
I'm definitely disagreeing. I was at West Ham and Newcastle last week. They're just away from home. They're just not the same team that they are at home, and it was really hard to watch them. And West Ham hadn't won at home, and they completely schooled them. So I'm going.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm going for Newcastle loss.
Newcastle loss. Okay. I'm going to go for a draw on this one.
We can't agree. We cannot agree.
Straight down the middle. Yeah, I mean, not much separating these two teams, and I'll just go for a slightly different result to you guys. There we go. And finally, Nottingham Forest against Leeds.
I think
There's a lot of tight games down
They
the
are
bottom this week.
in terms of their table positioning. Yeah,
It's tough
Nottingham Forest sit
predictions.
19th and Leeds sit 16th. I'll go first on this one. Leeds are going to win.
Oh, that is rogue. I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think Sean Dyche is going to get a win, and Nottingham Forest is going to win.
Yeah, I'm with Nayan. I'm on the Dyche.
Dyche hype.
Yeah.
The Dyche party bus. You did want to
He's
go for a
bringing
pint with
some-
him the other day, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah, I'm still waiting on that. But yeah, I fancy Forest. I'm going to go Forest. I think Leeds have struggled a bit more recently. I think they're a bit vulnerable, so I'm going Forest.
Amazing. Well, as always, we want to hear your predictions too. Let us know in the comments. Get involved in the conversation. Which way are all these games going to go? Which game are you most excited about? Keep the conversation going. Right, well, that brings us on to our regular feature. It's Pint-Sized Partners. Who are you going for a pint with this week? And I'm going to theme it for myself anyway. Feel free to jump on the bandwagon, but everyone's been in traitors hysteria. So I'll give you my pint-sized partner. It's an ultimate traitor.
Is it?
Are you hooked?
I'm very hooked. I'm very hooked.
It is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I want to go for a pint with Trent, and here's why. I mean, for a number of reasons, but he got so booed. He got so booed midweek, and that's got to make you feel a certain way. It feels unfair to me. He gave a lot to that club, and what are we just saying that players just can't ever leave because they're, faithful? I don't know. Like he did it all, and it's not like he's gone to Real Madrid. Like give the guy a break.
I do feel sorry for him, and you can't fault him for going to Real Madrid, but it's football, isn't it?
Oh, it's football. It's part of it.
I don't think he's expected to come back and get cheered. It was never going to happen, was it? Whether it's right or wrong, we can debate about it.
Let's find out. I'll ask him over the pint.
Yeah.
Were you expecting to get that heavily
Going
booed?
to Madrid.
Yeah.
I think the boos are good. The game would be gone if we weren't booing
No, I
players.
know.
The game would be gone.
I'm with you.
As long as they don't go too far, it's all a bit,
Traitor.
All right. I haven't actually seen Traitors, which is probably a bit controversial, but so I can't really join in on the whole Traitors hype. But I'd like to go for a drink with Vitor Pereira, recently sacked at Wolves.
He's got a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah, and he likes a beer as well. I remember going to a game last season where he said he was going to go for a beer after I can't remember who it was they beat, but he likes to go for a beer. But I'd just be interested to find out what exactly went wrong there, because he was loved by the Wolves fans last season. He was really popular there. He completely turned it around from the start of the season, and this season it's just gone completely off. And I know their squad's not great, but I am struggling. And obviously they lost Cunha and Ait Nouri, which are two massive losses, which probably is a lot of why they've struggled. But I'm struggling to see why it's gone so downhill to the extent it has. So I want to ask Vitor Pereira about that.
That's got traitor vibes, I think.
Has it?
Like turning against, like fans turning against someone. Yeah.
You got recruited. You never know.
You got recruited, exactly.
So that's gone over your head, hasn't it?
Yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It does feel like we're at the round table here.
Yeah, we are at the round table.
I think you guys have gone for traitors. I'm gonna go for the ultimate faithful to Thomas Frank. I'm gonna go for Mickey van der Ven.
Yeah.
And he was under fire for supposedly snubbing Thomas Frank, but he's shut that all down. He's saying he's right behind the manager. None of it was he just walking off because he's frustrated, and he scored a brilliant goal in midweek, around the whole length of the pitch. And I've never seen a centre-back score a goal that good. And I want to ask him how he was feeling right before he shot, because that must be the most nerves you've ever feeling. You can't miss that chance after you've run the whole length of the pitch, and you've got to stick it in the bottom corner, and he did. So I'll go for a pint Mickey van der Ven.
Oh, that's a good choice.
I think he'd be great to have a pint with. I think we should do a round table with all of those three. That would be the ultimate traitors round table.
Who would be getting banished?
You, Nayan. Anyway, we actually spoke to Mickey van der Ven midweek after that incredible goal. Our reporter Jerry Cox caught up with him in the mix zone, and here is what he had to say.
Yeah, today I get the ball in the own box, and I see the gap opening every time in front of me when I start dribbling. And at one point I think some players were around me, and I came through. And I saw the way was open to the goal. So I was like, okay, I keep dribbling now, and I need to finish this, to be honest. At the point I was taking the shot, I was like, I need to score this one. And luckily it happened.
Last season, I think, against Everton, you went on a similar run, but then you laid it off to Sonny, didn't you? This time it's just one thing in your mind was go for goal, yeah?
Yeah, because the one against Everton with the assist, there were some defenders still in front of me, and now when I was past these defenders, the way was all the way through, all the way open, sorry. And then I was like, no, I need to go myself now.
And is it right, you played as a striker when you were a young player? Was that the old instincts kicking in tonight?
No, it was not the instincts of kicking in, but the finish was well, to be honest. Yeah, I was a striker when I was younger, but at that point I was not thinking about that, to be honest.
Well, maybe we'll be seeing Mickey van der Ven on the next series of Celebrity Traitors. Hopefully not for the Spurs fans, I'm sure. Well, that is all we have time for. Let us know who your pint-sized partner would be. Are they a traitor? Are they a faithful? Let us know. As always, please like and subscribe to our channel, Hayters TV on YouTube. Get involved in the conversation. We want to hear from you. We, as I mentioned before, are in Box Piccadilly. It is really fantastic. You want to get down here and watch all your sport. This weekend, next weekend, every weeknight. There are always screens on with whatever sport you want to watch. Thank you so much for joining us on Pint-Sized Pressers. Again, we will be back next week for more.